Welcome back to another Crash Course video of Bloons here, and today we will be focusing on Dart Farm Wizard and Dart Farm Cobra. No, Dart Cobra Wizard. The farm and Cobra are typically interchangeable, and to start off we're going to cover the four towers, or three towers. We've already looked at Banana Farm. If you are curious about the Banana Farm, you can either go into the game yourself, or you can look at our previous video covering Tack Farm Wizard. So wired funds generate $70 at base, and then $1 more per round. So if it's run 15, it's going to generate $85, and etc. Double tap just doubles the Cobra's attack speed. For tier 2, we get balloon adjustment, which is every 5th neutral balloon on the opponent's side is randomly given camo, regen, camo, or +1 rank, with the maximum being ceramic. Attrition is every 15 lives, or every 15 seconds, either steal 2 lives from one opponent in assault mode, or add 2 lives in defense mode. In tier 3, we get Monkey Stamp, which decreases the tower power cooldown by 5 seconds with a minimum of 15 seconds. And then there's also Finish Him, which decreases balloon power cooldown by 10 seconds, minimum of 10 seconds. Offensive Push, which is the tier 4. Next tier of balloons become available to send 1 round earlier than normal. And then the other tier 4, the ability, is Misdirection. Moves highest balloon in range to your opponent. Cooldown varies based on balloon type, with the maximum being a BFB. And so that's the Cobra's upgrades. We'll cover the Dart Monkey now. Tier 1 is long range darts, which just allows it to hit farther. Sharp Shots gives it +1 pierce, so it can go through 2 balloons at once now. Tier 2 is Enhanced Eyesight, which is more range and allows camo detection, which is pretty important considering this tower has lead detection, so it can hit camo leads. And Razor Sharp Shots, I think this is actually wrong, because I think it's 3 now, but it can pop 3 extra balloons per shot. Spike-a-Bolt catapults fire spiked balls that can pop up to 40 balloons at once. And Triple Dart shoots 3 darts at one time, at once. And Juggernaut, which allows lead detection, or lead popping power, hurls a giant spiked ball that excels at crushing ceramics, so it gets bonus ceramic damage. Super Monkey Fan Club is an ability where up to 10 nearby darts go into a base Super Monkey form with hypersonic attacking, but they keep their pierce advantage and camo detection for 11 seconds. Now let's continue to the Wizard Monkey. Apprentice Monkey. Monkey Apprentice. Gosh, I can't remember names. Okay, tier 1 is Intense Magic. Actually, no, we've already looked at this. I looked at that in the last video. So we only needed to look at the 2 right there. And as previously stated, I am most likely going to just start out with Ceramic Crucible gameplay, because that is the most consistent for most of you guys that are going to be interested in this. Of course, I could go into like BFB or ZMG for higher gameplay, but maybe I can do that for continuations of already existing videos. So here we get A game, and this is a potential Dart Farm Wizard strategy map. I don't care about my 4th, so I'm not going to use it. Hopefully our opponent doesn't disconnect here. This is a pretty good map. So Dart Farm Wiz is pretty similar to Tack Farm Wizard, as it uses both of the towers to defend while also being cheap enough to be aggressive later on. You can think of it as just switching out the tack shooter for Dart Monkey, which is better for a lot of things, but worse in other regards. Worse would be for defending all outs. You don't have that maelstrom ability. However, you can defend camo all outs better. For the majority of the early game, you're going to be using the dart monkey to defend. So you usually go for a trip dart because it has great pierce. It's 4 per shot, I believe, per dart. And that's pretty good. That's able to handle majority of things. Also, you can always afford another dart monkey pretty cheaply. It's only $200 for a base dart monkey, and then like $500 on top of that for another trip dart. So it's always pretty cheap to go for this. I might need to double up because he's ecoing, and I think I will. Is this fine for now? I think I'm gonna set this guy to strong. Just try and hit some of the scent balloons fast. Not scent, AI balloons, the naturals. Set this back to last because this round is pretty easy. We can always set this dart monkey back to first. And our main goal here is to be aggressive later on, so we need to farm early. That's just how it works. You need money to send things. However, it doesn't mean you can't send anything earlier on. Like here, I'm going to send some black bones to try and force defense so he can't greed. And this here might be an example of where we might want to start using our wizard for like its grouped popping power. Its grouped is better than its just solo. So I think we might want to put a fireball here, which has this nice radius attack like a bomb shooter that allows us to do good group popping power in both lanes. I could always go for a spike bolt just in case I need it, but I think I'm good for now. So we're just going to keep farming. Round 8 is a potential round for rushing. However, he does have 2 double shots, so I'm probably not going to, as that is way too expensive. It would cost maybe $1,500 to just try and get a boost or something out of him. And he's sending balloons here, so I'm going to go for a spike bolt. Usually you want to go for a spike bolt because of its excess pierce. It's great against these fast group balloons like pinks and yellows and whites. I am leaking a bit, but that isn't too bad. That's just kind of a natural thing from this map. And our wizard acts as lead detection, or lead popping power. It also has camo detection with its monkey sense, so we shouldn't really have to worry about much for a while. And as I mentioned, we have good white popping power, but he does not. Whites turn into pinks if they're not careful, and those can be very deadly. This might actually just kill him right now. Okay, he boosts, which is good, and he buys another ninja. If he all outs us here, I can go for a Juggernaut and boost. I can also go for a Dragon's Breath and boost, and several spike bolts. Or, if I have enough money, I can afford a Super Monkey Fan Club, and that typically can defend most all outs. And unlike with Pop War strategies, like Dart Farm Ace and Dart Farm Super, if you Fan Club and sell a Juggernaut, you don't have to worry too much because you have a wizard to pop lead balloons later on. That's just a pretty good benefit. I'm gonna buy Intense Magic just so I can get that extra pierce. And it also makes it cheaper in the future to afford Lightning Bolt, which is gonna be pretty nice for grouped popping power. We're gonna send some grouped leads here. Okay, he bought a semi-auto 2-3. That's just good to know. And I'm gonna go for a Lightning Wizard here. This can help me defend this round. It's going to be a bit annoying. Okay. I'm going to set this guy to strong. There is a benefit to using targeting. Changing from first to strong or close or last. As different targetings have different uses. I'm going to buy Monkey Sense there. Not Enhanced Eyesight on my Dart Monkeys right now. That's because this is capable of a higher damage output and more versatile than my trip darts. I could go for BIA, and I probably should, but it's already round 18, so I'm just going to go for a factory. A factory is 1.4, or no, is $14,000. So typically people buy 4 plantations, which is about 2.5K per. So if we multiply that by 4, we get $10,000. So typically you do need about $4,000 on hand, like this, and then you can afford it pretty well. Okay. This game isn't the best to demonstrate the aggressiveness of the strategy, as we got a pretty passive opponent here. Let's go for another lightning bolt. Lightning is pretty nice to have on most maps. There is some maps where lightning is side dependent. Like on the left side of offside, you're going to see a lot of players avoiding wizard because of that fact. And the main reason that is that lightning targets the top right. So if you have a majority of the map over here and like a small section up here, you're not going to have a fun time. Think of like offside, where there's the beginning up here, but then there's all of this map down here that is not getting hit because it's focused up here. However, on the right side of offside, that doesn't really happen because you have the left side over here, which is the entrance, but then you have all of this valuable space towards the right of it, which is going to be prioritized. So yeah. Let's see, I could go for a Dragon's Breath, and I think I should. Maybe I should do it here. This is the more prime time spot. Or I can go for a Juggernaut. I don't think it matters. I'm just going to go for both. And our opponent is using his 4th tower, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's okay. Am I fine? I should be. Yeah. Juggernaut is typically on last or strong in most cases. Because it shoots in a straight line, so you want it to be where the balloons are going to be, rather than where the balloons are. So if you have it on first, it would start targeting and its angle would start chasing. Whereas on last, it wouldn't, because its projectile is so big that it can hit things on the way and do damage. Our opponent does have a decent amount of money, so I'm probably thinking of sending a ZMG. I don't have enough firepower to outlast him later on, especially since he's using 4th towers, where he's going to pull out his ninja. And Ninja Glue is pretty strong on its own, so adding the sniper and the village is going to be very annoying. Maybe I should cover eco strategies, however, that might take forever. Let's go first. This is fine. I think this is fine. Okay, I bought another wizard, fire Dragon's Breath, because I wasn't too certain there. I might boost to round 25 here, because it is going to be pretty close. It's Bloon Boost now. These are both on strong, and that's fine. Okay. Actually, I could probably just defend by buying a couple spike bolts back here. Okay, I think I'm good. Yep, no need to boost there. Our opponent is struggling a lot to AI because all of their snipers are unstrung. Factories are pretty nice to have because of their generation ability. Not generation, their money and income is 6 crates at $900 per round when you have a 4-2. So that's always nice. So main ideas of the strategy are farming early, which I've already stated. Probably being super aggressive in the early game and mid game, so your opponent is drained late game. And you can do that through like major rushes with yellows and zebras and rainbows. Or you can do that with choke rushes like regrow leads and regrow zebras over the top. Actually, I probably need a fan club here. Fan club is probably going to be starting to income and implement itself starting around 27 because of the Moabs that come out. That's just a generic round for Dart Monkey. You just have to fan club pretty much every round, or you're not really going to be generating too much money because you're buying so much in defense. Okay. And we don't have to have a Juggernaut up because we have our Dragon's Breath. Am I fine? There we go. And the Pierce is pretty good. It got buffed recently, so actually Super Monkey Fan Club can just solo a ZMG. Okay, our opponent here seems to be wanting to all out us. I'm gonna send this, and then send some of that. And let's go for a Tornado in the middle. Tornado is gonna help clean up pretty well. Let's boost. Let's go for another one. Let's go for a Phoenix. Okay. That's a bit hectic. The strategy isn't the greatest late game, so I probably should be a bit more aggressive on my ZMG sending here. However, he's also not the best at defending, it looks like. So, yeah. This isn't the greatest spot. I might prefer to move my wizard here or back here, especially since we're about to enter round 32. Let's do that. That should defend. Good. Okay, let's go for another one. Let's send more ZMGs. All of this is pretty good targeting, right? Let's go for a range. He is gonna probably have a major issue with the ceramic insides, because he doesn't have a 4-2 glue. And 4-2 glue is insanely good at defending insides. It does like 10 damage per second, which pretty much melts anything less than a Moab. Because ceramics do not scale until like round 43, and that is very nice for us pretty much, because we don't have the greatest ceramic damage. I'm going to keep farming, although I'm going to be slowly sending ZMGs over the top. And you need to know your rounds, so you can actually know when to defend and when to buy defense. So like round 33 is always going to be ceramics, put some other stuff, and then always 2 Moabs and 2 BFBs. So that's just something that you need to know, and it's going to help you out a lot if you do, because you're going to be able to prepare for defending. And our opponent does go down here. They're definitely not the best type of player to go against. They're pretty passive, and I think it's probably better if I show you guys how to defend against an aggressive player rather than playing against a passive player and trying to explain. But it's okay. And seeing Marsh, it is pretty much a thing to bring up, that this strategy works on the majority of maps, even if it's a pretty water heavy or lack of farming, because you're planning to be super aggressive. That it actually benefits you. Like here, I'll try it here, although this isn't the best map because it's a 2-way map. But whatever. Oh, thumbs down. Oh, he skips. Okay, good. Hopefully we get... this is bad. This is pretty long. But I think it's fine if I'm advocating for it. I should be aggressive. Our opponent here doesn't seem the most experienced to me, but they seem good enough. So I'm going to try and spike. Well, I already spiked, but we're going to try and start with a Dart Monkey. Our opponent is going that. So we need to look at potential spots for our Trip Dart. So I think here is pretty good. And I'm just going to go directly for it because our opponent is ecoing. And because of how this map functions, you don't get good enough dart spots to hit both balloons at once. I'm actually going to start sending red balloons here. And this is so I can force upgrades, which stops him from having so much money to just freely eco, which is pretty important because that money snowballs later on. So if I can force another tower or a double shot or anything, that is pretty good for me, considering that I'm cutting into his funds and supporting my future endeavors. I'm gonna go for another dart monkey here. Usually you can either go for a spikeable or a double trip dart start. I'm going double trip dart because I have a pretty decent amount of balloons incoming that I don't want to waste time on my spikeable up there. And this should carry to like round 6, where I should be fine and probably want to either buy a spikeable or a wizard. And it's important to get experience, as you will need to go for a spikeable in most scenarios on most maps. So you need to be able to eye out where to place a spikeable. And to do that, you want to know where those good straight lines are and where you can hit consistently. So an example would be right here. This has a pretty good straight line, and on last, it gets a pretty good consistent attack. It's not going to be wavering between the two, unless there's no balloons, but that's already a good sign if there isn't. But yeah. And it is round 6. I could go for a farm, I just realized, but it's fine. I'm going to go for a rush, trying to force something, and I did force a mortar, which is good. And I'm just sending some space balloons to back it up, just to hold in that extra defense. You see there, he bought a Seeking Shuriken, which he didn't have. And he's being super aggressive here, however, he doesn't have sufficient defense to defend actual yellows from his side. And this might even kill him if he's not careful. He doesn't have a burning stuff on a mortar, so that 0-0 mortar and a 2 or a 3-1 is ninja is not going to be sufficient defense to actually uphold against round 8 yellows and round 9 yellows, especially if you have a lot of money. And if I had to bet, I don't think he would have actually too much more eco than I have right now. And I went for my farm because of how cheap it is to buy lead detection. I could go for this and I'm good. He goes for a bomb, which is nice, I guess. That is kind of annoying because it's so passive in most scenarios. I just have to be a bit careful of our opponent's rushing. Okay, he bought a burning stuff, which is good for him. It means I can't really rush him until camo balloons, I guess. I need to check out if he has camo or not on his mortar. No, he did not buy it. Okay. You can place a farm here. You could place another farm here, and you can fit one here and here. This farm is pretty difficult to fit. It's like pixel perfect. I'm gonna buy lightning because he's rushing. So this is strong, and probably buy camo on this. I like the extra range because it helps me anti-stall. In some scenarios, you might want to buy a dart monkey, like a trip dart, or a wizard down here towards the AI, just to keep that anti-stall going. So I'm probably going to do that now. The rounds are getting kind of beefy, and I don't like how long they are. Although it's more effective early game, but early game I was trying to explain a lot of things. So we get round 16 coming up. So I'm probably going to rush with leads. He has mortar and ninja, so he's probably going to be fine against Reros, but I'm going to send a few in after I rush kind of heavily. Just like this. Send some leads, and then some Reros over the top, and then balloon boosts for some zebras. And this should force a boost, because his bomb and mortar are going to regrow farm pretty heavily, but the Barney stuff is going to pop the black layer and be good enough to actually defend and have enough attack speed to attack the pink balloons before they can regenerate. Okay, Let's buy camo on some things. And let's go for a BIA. I was a bit off, but it's okay. I should be able to send a Moab here pretty quickly. If we get rushed with a Moab, we probably have to boost and cash out because of how... okay, I guess we're doing this now. Let's do this. Let's do this. So this. Okay, I had to buy a Tempest just to pull things back. That's pretty nice. And I'm going to buy another Wizard down here for the leads incoming this round. He bought a... interesting. He bought a Boon Impact, which is kind of overreacting, but it's also not. Usually you buy a Boon Impact if the opponent is planning to send something or already has. And because it's super good against Bloons, that's basically all the Bloon defense you need. And he bought 2 Maulers there, which is kind of overreacting. But it's also trying to get me not to send a BFB. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. I might go for another Lightning Wizard down here. And maybe I'll sell this guy, because it's not the most effective to have a Wizard blowing everything back. But it's fine, I guess. Am I dead? Damn, I was close to dying there. Let me go for a Dragon's Breath. And then another Wizard up here. And this should be really good now. Instead of having that Trip Dart, we can actually place this Spike Bolt down there in that corner. And that should help out a lot. With like group balloons and handling pretty much everything. Let's go for our farms here. We're probably going to work on a what's it called? Banana research facility. Is this fine? I think this is fine for now. Yeah, we're good. Got a bit close there, but it's fine. We're not too far away from going for our BIA. It might actually be worth it to do this and try and go for double factories. I probably could have sold it earlier, around 22 for a factory, but it's okay. Because round 22 is super quick. It gives all the crates pretty much at once, which allows you to upgrade more banana farms and get extra money. So that's pretty nice. And it increases the rate that you can stun Bloons later on. That snowball effect is pretty strong within a lot of strategies like this. Do I want to go for this or do I just boost? I think I need a greed, so I need to sell that. There we go. And I'm gonna boost to defend. I don't think I would have defended anyway without it, so it's fine to boost early on and try and get that extra fast income from that farm. And I think I might do it with the same thing around 25 for the ceramic rounds. Although I could go for double Dragon's Breath and a Juggernaut. But I'm trying to afford a ZMG pretty quickly here. So yeah. There we go. We'll see how this goes. I may be able to afford it, I may not. I don't think I am, so I'm gonna boost and probably go for a Juggernaut because it gets a good line here. Double Dragon's Breath there too. It's a bit laggy, but that's fine. Oh, hopefully they don't disconnect. That'd be kind of unfortunate, because this game is going pretty well. I might have lost here because of their strategy being so passive and capable of defending late game. It's kind of why the strategy isn't so popular anymore, is because it gets countered by pretty much everything that goes late game and is pretty good at defending. And that's just kind of how it is for a lot of these aggressive strategies. Their main focus is against farm strategies, which are very good and typically can beat these like main eco strategies. But yeah, that's probably going to be the end of the video here. I'm thinking of going back in the future to redo some of these videos and make continuations, probably in higher arenas like in CMG, and trying to get more in depth into like how to rush and what to micro and how to defend. If you guys would be interested in that, just let me know. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Check out my other video if you enjoyed.